my gosh, you guys, I'm doing my first monthly wrap up. September complete. Whoopsh. I feel like September was a really lovely month. I came back to reading recently after a very long time of not reading. I just kind of want to take you down like my book journey briefly before I get into what I read. When I was growing up, grade school was the time of books for me. The Scholastic Book Fair in elementary school really made me fall in love with reading. But I also just like checking those boxes and getting those cute little weevil things. It was awesome. I loved it so much. I remember getting some Goosebumps books. I remember getting a couple of fantasy books. But over time, reading just became less of a thing for me. And when I went into college, my reading just kind of became non existent because everything was textbooks. It kind of destroyed my reading vibe. And I hate to say it, but for a while there, I was just like, I'm not a reader. I'm not a reader. And that's just not true, okay? I started really reading on a daily basis in the middle of August. DNF'd 2 books, and I was like, ugh. But then I started this channel, and I started reading books that really were resonating with me, that I was seeing other people talking about. The idea of sharing my experience with these books has really fueled me, and watching other booktubers and feeling like I'm a part of a community, even if mostly right now this community is just me commenting on a bunch of booktubers pages, it still feels really nice. And so I'm looking at reading as a new chapter in my life. I really feel like I turned the page, puns intended, but for real, I mean it. And I don't know, I like that it's being documented on YouTube and that this journey is here and that anybody that wants to join and be a part of my return to reading can do so. And I hope it's enjoyable, because it's so enjoyable for me. So having said that, moving on to the books that I read in September, I'm just going to talk about these books in summary. I do have full reviews of all of them on my channel if you want to dive a little deeper. But the first book that I read is Blindsight by Peter Watts. It's definitely a technical sci-fi in space with a mysterious alien ship. It's very interesting. I'm glad that the first book I really finished was that one. I really like it when sci-fi looks at how technology can change our human experience. And I definitely feel like that was a big theme in that book. It set off September pretty well for me. I gave it a pretty high score. But the interesting thing is that once I have so many books read in the future, I wonder what it'll be like to go back and look at that one, because it really did set a bar for me. The second book I read in September is Snow Crash by Neal Stephenson. I really went into this very hopeful. I like the premise of this book. There's so much about this book that I do think is pretty cool. And for the first half, I really liked it. And then it took a turn, and I probably should have DNF'd it because it kind of put me in a rage. The second half was much more difficult for me, and all of my thoughts on that are in my review. But that was kind of a mixed bag for me. What I had wanted it to be was something that it wasn't, and I find that my expectations when I go into a movie, when I go into a book, and I have high expectations, it's much likelier that I'm going to leave disappointed. When you set a bar really high for something and you say, now you need to deliver XYZ on it, and then it doesn't, it's hard not to feel a sense of womp womp. Even if I hadn't set many expectations for me, even if the book was like the cover wasn't exciting or the blurb wasn't interesting, I still would have walked away with an issue with this book. But I'm glad I read it. Now I just know whose recommended books to stay away from. Just kidding. The third book I read in September is Crash by J.G. Ballard. Finished that one somewhat recently, and I would probably say that book is the most impactful one that I read in September. My goal was to read sci-fi books, and it isn't super heavy in the science fiction part, except for maybe in the science of the mind, the science of how we see the world and how we act upon the world. There is a behavioral science aspect to this book, and I would say that that's probably what makes it science fiction the most. But overall, an excellent read, great character development, fascinating concepts. and relatively short. And if there's one thing that I've learned about myself in this 1 month of doing BookTube so far, it's that I like shorter books. So those were the 3 books that I read in September. Again, all of the books that I read, I'm doing an individual review of them. So if you do want to see my lengthy review, I go over in my Acorn system. I talk about the book's approach, characters, originality, readability, and narration. And that's kind of how I determine what point value I give out of 100 for the books. All right, next up is my small book haul. Every time I watch a video, a booktuber's video, they have books all over their background, and I just feel so stupid because I don't have that many books. I moved so much in my life that I've had to downsize time and time and time again, and books were one of those things that I downsized. So I have only a very small collection, and I don't really have a place to display it right now, except for, of course, my lovely easel. So I wanted to make sure that at least some of the books that I read on this channel were actually physical titles. There's such a nostalgia and there's such an awesome aspect to holding a book that I just wanted to disperse it in there. So I did get a few books. The first one is Carl Sagan's Contact. I'm excited for this book. I don't know when I'm going to read this. The next month is going to be all horror. So a lot of these books are just going to be added to the TBR to be read whenever they're selected. But this is one that I'm very excited for. I really love the movie Contact, and I expect that I'm going to really like this. I will be imagining Jodie Foster. It's going to be nice to have that visual aid. And it'll be interesting to see how much it differs from the movie. But I'm really looking forward to Carl Sagan's Contact. So that was one of the ones I got. The next book that I got in this little haul of mine is Orson Scott Card's Ender's Game. Another book that I'm really excited for. I have not seen the movie. I was not going to watch the movie until after I had experienced the book. Well, I didn't experience the book. So now I have it for the future read sometime, and I'm very excited. I think this is going to be right up my alley, but then again, I have expectations. I don't know. I'm setting up myself for disappointment, or am I? I get the sense that I am going to really enjoy this. So we shall see sometime in the future. Keep your eyes out for that review whenever that happens. Next up in the book haul list is Arthur C. Clarke's Rendezvous with Rama. I kind of love this cover more than the one that I had when I tier listed these books I haven't read. I think it's kind of silly. There's like this old like CGI kind of aspect to it, and it already gives me the feels that I want. I'm getting like Star Trek Next Gen vibes with this cover, and I really hope that that's the vibe that I get when I'm reading this. But Rendezvous with Rama, another book that's on my sci-fi TBR list that will come up at some point, and a lot of award-winning books. A lot of award-winning books. So these are gonna be these better be some decent reads. And then the fourth and final book that I got in my cute little book haul here is The Whistling. Now, this is by Rebecca Netley. And this book is one that I'm currently reading right now. This will be my next review. This was not available digitally, and so I had to get a physical copy, which I kind of love. I love how big this one is, how wide, and the pages, like, it looks so readable as far as just how easy it looks like it's going to be to get through. And I think it's a cute cover. I like this. I'm excited. I'm only like 7 chapters in, but I'm looking forward to reading the rest and being scared, being ooky spooky scared. So that'll be my next review. That'll be on this channel in probably like a week. And that's my cute little book haul. So what did you think? Did I do a good job? I'm not one that usually goes to bookstores. These I still got online from Half Price Books. The Whistling did come from Amazon. I love bookshops. I'm just a hermit, and I tend not to go anywhere if I don't have to. So I probably will not be bringing a whole lot of book haul videos, but I thought that it would be really cute to add to the September review, given that I just got these this month, and it's very exciting. Good times. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about that I think I'll be doing on a regular basis with these monthly review videos, is to talk a little bit about my own writing. It's why I decided that I was going to read all of the books that I was going to consume. I wasn't going to listen to them. I want to look at the writing. I want to be able to analyze the sentences. I want to be able to just absorb as much as I can from the books that I love and apply that to my writing. But I started writing a new book. I already have about 30,000 words of it because I'm trying to write every day. I haven't written for the last couple of days though, so I'm feeling a little bad about that. This one hair is distracting me so much. It's like, you will look at me. Oh. But I do want it to be a little part of this channel. I've very purposely not mentioned my writing in pretty much every other one of my videos because that's not what this channel is supposed to be about. But I'm hoping over time that this channel does get some followers. And even if that means that there's 5 people when I eventually publish a book that pick it up and read it, I will be a happy camper. But right now, what I am currently writing, it's a sci-fi book. And that's why my first TBR list was sci-fi. That's why so many books that I'm reading on this channel will be sci-fi. Taking a nice little spooky break for October to get some scares in. But then I'm probably going to go right back to sci-fi. And that's primarily because of my writing. So yeah, and so that's my September wrap up. What did you read in September? Have you read any of these books that I talked about? Let me know in the comments. And if you did enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. It does fuel me to keep going. Right now I'm at 12 subscribers, which is lovely. Well, I hope you all have a lovely day, and I will see you next month with my next monthly recap. And until then, laters.